Very good afternoon to all of you. So let me start my slide so that I just wanted to wish you, I just wanted to make you feel, yes, we are people who are helping so many. So I thought I'll share the slide and then I'll talk to you. So we happily completed 2 days of our journey, going to the third day, and this is what I felt I should share with you. So to the rest of the world, we are just teachers, but to your students, if you ask them, if you ask Rostina ma'am student, they'll say, ma'am is our real hero. So that is what I have for the day for you. We are real heroes, well, our teachers. Somewhere down the lane, we will be heroes for the students, and it may not be said. Some children will come and say, ma'am, because of you, I am someone in today's life. Some may not say, but when they do each and every work, when they are associated with their work, they remember their teacher, the words that you said. And that particular moment in their life, we are real heroes for them. So that's our role in the life of a student. Let it be a child of the kindergarten to the 12th standard child, whoever the child may be. Our role of a teacher is no less to anyone else. And we are the real heroes ever in their lives. So with that, let's go to the session for the day. Like, to make it a little interesting, I thought, okay, let me start with some pictures where most of us can answer these questions. Those who can identify this picture can tell me what this picture is all about. Can you see it clearly? Is my picture very clear?
Yeah, it's clear, ma'am. It's clear.
Okay. Any guesses what this is? Some idea. It's a battlefield. That you would have understood.
Yes, ma'am, battlefield.
Yes. So what is that? Anyone?
Is it Battle of Plassey?
Yes, ma'am. Battle of Plassey. That's the battlefield. So it's a Battle of Plassey that I took.
I just made a wild guess because that's how the first lesson starts.
Yes. That is when I said, this is what I'm going to do. Like, kind of interesting for the kids when they are shown the pictures, that will be there in the mind. And again, this one. This is there in our history textbooks. Those who have been going through the history textbooks, you will know what it is. Any idea? Those who have been handling the sessions of 10th?
French Revolution?
No. It looks like a Nawab.
It looks like a Nawab. It's Mir Jafar and Robert Clive.
Right. The British East India Company.
Yes, the flag is there.
Right.
The Battle of Plassey is what the child studies in 8th standard. And gradually how they become the rulers of the nation. And it is after this Battle of Plassey in 1857 that they are becoming the rulers of the nation. So that is when I thought I'll add these two pictures. introduction. That's how the first chapter starts, with the rest of the story continuing as to how the Indian economy was exploited by the Britishers when they were ruling us. And then this is a zamindari system, the triangular part of it, which shows how the revenue was collected from the peasants and how did it reach the British government. So the middlemen, the so-called zamindars, their exploitation and how they were taxing the Indians to produce the food grains what the Britishers wanted. So here, when you go with the first chapter, the first chapter is dealing with the positive impact of the British rule and the negative impact of the British rule. So the positive impact of the British rule, we know what all things the Britishers have done for us, and the medium of instruction that I am using today is because of them. And whatever the policies that we do follow is also part of that. So the positive impact is also there and the negative impact is also there. So summing up, the chapter sums up like, in spite of having all the negativities of the Britishers, these are the few things that they have contributed to the society. So the first chapter, you can always correlate it to the Indian history part of it. You can brief it out. You can first discuss with them, so that this is a time when they will have a good interaction with you. You can make the class very, very lively. So many questions that you can ask related to the Battle of Plassey. Why did the Britishers become the rulers of the country? What made them become the rulers of the country? So what were our Indian rulers doing here at that point of time? Did we not have a Raja? Did we not have a king? Or were they the Mughals? Even if the Mughal was there, who was there? So all these kinds of questions you could ask them to get so much of inputs from the students. Now my next slide is, so with that, we are ending up that chapter and we are going into the Indian independence of it. That is just after the Britishers left us, we got independence. At the same time, we were partitioned. So put together two things, independence we got, partition also was there. So our country, which was one before, is no longer one after that. In 1947, when Pakistan was taken away, Bangladesh, present day Bangladesh, in those days, East Pakistan was, that is East Pakistan was there. So later only they became Bangladesh, and all that you can learn in this. Talk to them about the second chapter, because the second chapter starts with India after independence and the 5-year planning. That is the economy, how the economy is, how did the economy get its form as we are seeing today, and what all hardships we had to undergo when India became a free nation. So this is how the chapter, you can take the chapter like a chain from the first to the next one, going back to the history part of it. Yes, Sugna ma'am, if you are going to take this chapter, what all things will you be able to correlate it to them?
What British?
If the first, I know that you have not seen a textbook. From what I just now told you, the first chapter is all about the arrival of the British to the economy as traders and becoming the rulers, exploiting the Indian society, and then leaving the society by looting away, plundering all the wealth from the economy. So how can you correlate it with what you have been teaching in 10th standard and 9th standard and 8th standard?
So, independence you are asking.
How will you correlate it? You need some time to think over.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Take your time. So maybe after 20 minutes of the session, I'll get back to you to ask you your idea. Because we are handling this. Yes, Soumya ma'am.
Just now only I had my lunch, ma'am. That's it.
So,
Heavy lunch,
which
Sugna ma'am.
means you are sleeping, so I'm a good teacher. I found out the culprit.
Am I allowed to talk?
Yes, Soumya ma'am, please.
Yeah. I wanted to just share, like how I introduce the zamindari system and the exploitation, I suggest this movie, Lagan.
Yes, they immediately will say Lagan.
Yes, yes. And those who love cricket and those who, want to also understand the history behind, definitely I ask them to, ma'am, movie? Yes, yes, yes. Definitely you will have to watch it. You'll have to understand the system, the Lagan, and how the revenue system, zamindars, how they were exploiting. And some of them were actually powerless. They had to do it. So that's how I create interest there.
No, my girls, they watched Lagan and they said, ma'am, Lagan, that story is there. No, yes, I said, yes, that story is there. That is the same story here. You remember that story? Yeah, we remember that story. At least something they'll be able to write. When we say about zamindari system, exploitation, Lagan, and those words are all coming in there also.
Absolutely, yes.
So if they get holidays like May month and all, if you meet them, you can ask them, just go watch movies, or after during your course of your time on a Saturday, Sunday, in order to just give them some kind of a leisure to learn the subject, you can ask them, just go watch Lagan and come. If it is available in the YouTube, let the child watch this movie. It's not motivating children to watch movies, but then yes, that movie really highlights the story of how cricket and exploitation, everything is put in a very good sequence, and then that has been children will remember that, because videos and all we always remember rather than a teacher talking. It will help us to finish our chapter very fast. So if you could, or if allowed, you can take them to, if you have an AV room and if you get permission from ma'am, you can show them a part of it so that they do understand, okay, this is what ma'am said about all these things. She's talking about this story. She's talking about this movie because this movie is all about how the exploitation happened and what was the real scenario here and there, all those things. Okay, so now going to the next slide. Again, the slide will clearly show us what the British did in the Indian economy. And we know that India was once upon a time a very rich economy, a wealthy nation who used to export the food grains, export cotton, and then the fine quality cotton and handicrafts were of great demand in the world market. So when we say all these stories, when we show the slide, they'll understand, oh, 23% was a global GDP when they came as traders, and when they left the economy, that is in 1947, it is just only 4% of the GDP. So which means this much of an exploitation did they have for the economy. Now, the next slide is again for you to identify this. Is my slide clear? Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
The boomerang is coming back to Subhana ma'am, okay? You are sleeping. So you have to identify. No, it was just a joke, ma'am. And I know it's 2 o'clock. That is why I put all these things inside this. Because I have to engage you till 3:30, right? Keeping you hale and healthy, keeping you without sleeping, engaging you. So I thought, okay, these things will help you. You can see people taking off something. You can see something which is white, furry over there. What be that? It's a package down here. They are packing something.
Cotton.
Cotton. Because when I said just before, I told you that India was an exporter of fine quality cotton and the
importer of the finished goods.
Yes, finished goods. So then we became importer of all these finished products. So here we are showing, the picture is showing, this is an old pic taken by the, I have taken it from the Wikipedia. So how the, it's a drawing, how they are struggling to like pack the cotton, the raw cotton, send it to England during the Industrial Revolution. And that is what we were forced to do. The first chapter says that we became a feeder economy. A feeder economy is an economy where we have to feed on to whatever was dumped into our economy. From an exporter, we became a feeder economy. So the meaning here is we started feeding on, we started using the finished products which was sent from England to India, because that time they became the rulers. It was a colony and it was a colonial rule, and they became the rulers. So you can again explain about the industrial revolution. Again, the chapter is there in 10th standard. So we can speak about the industrial revolution, which and that industrial revolution is what was the reason for exporting all the raw materials, and because they had the confidence that they can bring in the finished products, machine made goods. Now, if suppose somebody is asking you, what do you like to wear? Do you like to wear khadi sari, or do you like to wear any other kind of saris? What will you say? Khadi churidar, or cotton churidar, or any other kind of material? What would you prefer?
Khadi we like, but its cost is high.
Cost is first thing. And wearing of khadi, just imagine wearing khadi churidas and going to school. So that is when we sit and stand up, it will all be crushed. Maintenance part of that is also very high. There are now some khadi saris, as you said, they are very, very expensive. And kalamkari saris and blouses are also now there. The kalamkari print.
Yes, ma'am, I like very much.
Nowadays, we wear the kalamkari print blouse. So you can always tell these to girls when, I mean, if it is a co-ed class, I don't know how you put it across. If it is a girls only group, you can tell them, see my blouse. Have you seen this somewhere? Because it's there in our 8th standard NCERT textbook, if I'm not wrong, the kalamkari print. So you can tell them this was the print which was of great demand in those days. So kalamkari was of great demand in those days. Even now, kalamkari is of great demand. And the indigo, the color, the blue color that was there in kalamkari, that was also very, very demandable, because the blue color dye never used to fade.
Yes,
The
indeed.
we used to make in India never used to fade. And for the Britishers, they had another substitute like woad. That's the name of the a plant, from which they used to extract the blue color. So when we keep telling them all these things, obviously that desire to study, because already they have studied at the 10th standard. So they will feel, oh, Indian economy is something related to history. Indian economy is something which I already have studied. So the feeling that we give to a child is, it's not that easy. It's not boring. You can make it very interacting, interesting. And then you can go in for some kind of a quest. Whatever they studied in 10th standard, whatever they could recollect in 8th standard. So when that happens in the session, in the class, 5 minutes of our teaching, we may start with the chapter economy. That is, Battle of Plassey took place, and they made the Indians under their control. It became a colony after the Battle of Plassey, and in India became a feeder economy. All these stories you will say, and then you are going into a quest. So the children will remember the quest. The children will remember the stories of Lagan. And then that 5 minutes of interactive session that we had, what is there in our text, that also they'll remember. Because Indian economy is a subject which has lots of theory to study, a number of things to list down. So to motivate the students from the start, when you put in a feedback, like if you are able to bring pictures and show it to them, if you are allowed to take the laptop to school and show it to them, then yes, that would be really helpful. Or you tell them to take a picture and come. Yes, it's somewhere helping the child to make it feel good. They are going back to history, it's a social science, and then they are correlating it with what they studied last year. Any idea who this person is? Anyone?
Maulana Abdul Kalam father, I have the doubt.
No. Think. He is associated to our subject, our chapter.
Dadabhai Naoroji.
No. You're close, but you're very close. It's related to Tisco.
Tata Ji.
Jamshedji Tata. So the founder of, the pioneer of Tisco, Tata Iron and Steel Company. And the second pick, I'll send all these things to you all so that you can use it when you are there in class, when you take the session. This is the Tisco company, Tata Iron and Steel Company in Jamshedpur.
Nice.
To the Tata Steel. That is where we started way back. The one and only company that we had, an industry that we had, if you could see, it was the Tisco, Tata Iron and Steel Company during the First World War period. That also we are teaching them in 10th standard. Tisco started and it helped the Britishers to supply war needs and all those things. You correlate it. So you can have quests like this where you take a print out and then you show the picture to the students and the students let them identify. It's we have to take the history is what, like, where history becomes useful when we are going back to the yesteryears to tell them who was the founder of such and such a big organization which is there. So when you tell them all these things with pictures, the child will be able to remember things very clearly. Oh, this is Jamshedji Tata, because we have in our textbook all about this person. And this is Tisco, Tata Iron and Steel Company in Jamshedpur, Bihar. And yes, this again very clearly implies that it's a Tata Steel. And then a briefing about the industrialist, the pioneer who started Tisco, the father of the Indian industry. Then we use this term Dhaka muslin. Dhakai muslin, we say. The muslin that was there. This is the material actually. Most of them ask, what kind of a material is this, ma'am? What is this Dhakai muslin? How does it look like? What is the material all about like? So this is the kind of the material that these the women used to wear. They the Muslim women used to wear these kinds of dresses, and this is the material, the Dhakai muslin. It's from Dhaka, that is why the name came, the Dhakai muslin. And then, very interesting this is, when we are talking about how the Britishers first came to India. That is, the Portuguese came, followed by the Dutch, the French, then the British. So this is how it is. So we say that this was a long journey that they had to take in order to reach India, all the way from the Cape of Good Hope. And the Cape of Good Hope is here down. That is the tip of South Africa. And then, because this chapter is also dealing with the Suez Canal. So why was the Suez Canal built? For that, we can, if you tell them stories, they won't understand. So when you show them the continent, when you show South Africa and say, this is how the Britishers came from Europe, from England they came, they had to come all the way down to the Cape of Good Hope, and then they had to enter into the Indian Ocean. So then later, the Suez Canal was built for this purpose. So that the distance was 15,000 miles, which has been much reduced down with the coming of the Suez Canal. So when we compare these two things, okay, child will have an idea. Oh, this is what we have been taught, that the purpose of building the Suez Canal was to reduce the distance from taking away the goods from India to England and bringing the finished products back from England to India. So how smart did they try various ways to exploit the economy? So when pictures are shown like this, the chapter very quickly will get over. So if you ask me, I think I'm in the second last page of this chapter now. So just by showing them the pictures, we are able to finish things at a nutshell and explaining it to them so that they better understand things with pictures. Because they already know the story. Only thing is we have to correlate it with pictures to them. And this is just for a curiosity that I made the section of the Tata family. Because now Ratanji Tata is there.
Tata.
Yes. And actually the chairman is Nadarajan, sir. He's actually a Tamilian. So till 2012 or 13 or 14, Ratanji sir was there. Now it has been given off to somebody else as a chairman, and sir is taking he's taking care of these other organizations, the trust and all those rest. Ratanji is taking care of. So just wanted to bring it so that this also will have some idea for the children. We started with Jamshedji Tata, and then way back down we have Ratanji Tata, and then in between we have JRD Tata. In our textbook we speak about him regarding the aviation part of it. So there's a picture and all about JRD Tata. So that also we can say this is the family tree about whom we are talking now. So this way, when we put things across to them, yes, it gives them an insight as to, okay, this is what we are studying, and this is why history is very important. Children feel, no, history is not so important, but history is very important. In order to know ourselves also, we have to know our history, right?
Yes.
What is who are our ancestors? Like when the pandemic came, many doctors asked to tell people, those who were associated with depression and all, is there any possibility of you all having depression when you were young? Or do your mother have depression, father have depression, or somebody in your family has it? Like that questions were asked. Is there anyone in your family who had wheezing problems? So it's just to study the history of the family to know what exactly the person is. So even for diseases, it is hereditary. So to know that, you have to know our history. So that much important is history in everyone's life, our life, and to know about the growth of the economy. So I hope you will remember these pics hereafter when somebody is asking you. So this is the first one is a Battle of Plassey, and the second pic is all about this, the Battle of Plassey. Second pic is all about Robert Clive and Mir Jafar. The third one, yes, it's very clear about the pyramid, the Zamindari system. And you can still tell them, we have learned in different names, the Raitwari system, Mahalwari system, all those were there, but we are talking about the Zamindari system, the role played by the Zamindars. Then comes the partition, Indian independence and partition. Why we are clubbing both is because when we became a free nation, when we became a free country, we had to partition our economy also. Because that was the time when the minority community, the Muslims, said that we want a free nation. So for that, we had to partition, and some of them had to be pushed away, pushed out of the country. Some had to be into the country. They were called like refugees. And then the government, the so-formed government, the democratic government, had to set up ways and means to help everyone live happily in peace and harmony in the economy. Then we are talking about the percentage of GDP that was there when the Britishers came and when they left. What was it all about? Then here we are talking about, we are showing about the clothing, that is the cotton, which they used to export, raw cotton, now exported instead of the finished cloth that we used to export once upon a time. Then this is Jamshedji Tata, and this is the company that he set up, the Tisco Tata Iron and Steel Company in Jamshedpur, Bihar, a part of it, and all about this person.
more thing, how we can say about the situation, how we were there under the Britishers. With a
Yes.
simple kindergarten, that is a rhyme. So,
Ma'am, I didn't hear the second half.
so how we were all there under Britishers now,
Huh.
how they were all treated us. With a
Yes.
small nursery kindergarten rhyme, it will explain beautifully, no? 1, 2,
Yes.
buckle my shoes, 2, 3, 4, shut the door, 5, 6, pick up
5, 6.
sticks, 7, 8, lay them straight, 9, 10, a good fat hand. So 1 or 2 Indians, they have to always stand beside my house. When it is windy, when it is very hot, they have to close and open my windows. And 3, 4, shut the door. 1, 2, buckle my shoes.
Huh.
I will sit comfortably. They have to
Somebody
tie
will.
my shoelace and other things and all. That type of nature we had. Then 3, 4, they have to shut my windows when it is windy. When it is hot, they have to open. 5, 6, pick up the sticks. For my kitchen, they have to pick that log from the forest.
Huh.
7, 8, they have to chop it nicely for my kitchen, for my cooking. And 9, 10, they have to get, that is a hen from somewhere else.
Hmm.
For my, that is for my dinner,
Hmm.
myself and my full family members, they will enjoy with that thing. So
That
this
is, I will happily live, and these Indians are my slaves to make my life comfortable throughout my stay in India. So that's how an Indian had to slog. And if you ask them, what was the reason why we had to do all these things?
because of the illiteracy.
And
They-
some of the Indians really enjoyed. Why did they enjoy, and why were the others suffering? So children will come up
Because-
with some.
Privileges, they enjoy some privileges in British period.
There is no unity.
There wasn't
That was-
unity. That's the ultimatum, Jayanti ma'am. There was no unity among the Indians at that point of time. If we were
yes, yes,
united,
that's
that's the first thing, ma'am. We used to
Those
fight
who are-
for. Yes, Roslina ma'am.
those who are very close with them, they got that's a priority.
They just wanted their power.
Those who are very close with them, because my grandpa,
Huh.
he was a railway god.
Okay. You
He
have a
knows
story
English.
now for us. Yes.
My grandpa, he
Huh.
was a railway god. He was working as a railway god,
Huh.
and he was very fluency in English, and he
Huh.
would sing nicely, I think. So my father once, he said, whenever the
Huh.
Britishers, they were traveling in the train, no, purposely
Huh.
they will ask God Ambrose, my grandpa's name. So
Huh.
we want only God Ambrose.
Huh.
So what, one day my father was saying, so my father will sing for the Britishers, and I said it's a slavery. My father got angry on me.
You said the truth, but that was the truth.
Really. I was saying, your father is a slave under the Britishers. அவங்க
Yes.
பாட சொன்னா your father was singing, but you were all thinking they gave very good appreciation. It's not at all the right thing. So the argument started between my father as well as myself in those times.
Your grandfather wasn't there at that time. He would have passed away. You have not seen him.
No.
Otherwise, you would have asked the same. You could have asked the same question to him.
Yes.
No.
Yes. My father will kill me.
True. Grandparents, you have to make it. But that's the truth. That was the truth. You had no other choice but to listen to them. And the main cause, as Jayanti ma'am said, was lack of unity among us. Even now, in certain situations, no, if we are united, no one can do anything to us. When we divide and stand, only people can come. Even in the family, even in your family, when there is unity among the family, no one from outside can come and speak anything, because we are all always united. But if somebody knows that there is no unity among the brothers and sisters, among the siblings, somebody from outside will happily come into your house, and then they will give you so many feedbacks and start brainwashing you, and finally you will end up in a big fight, and then there the split happens. So this is actually what had happened with the British rule in the country, because some of us were very selfish. Our forefathers were very selfish, and they just want to have their place and their wealth in a secured manner. So keep my wealth safe, keep myself safe, keep my family safe, keep my name and fame safe. It's fine for me. I just don't want to go into any kind of problems with the British. They are happy. Yes. That is why ma'am's father would have got angry with her when she said slavery, because that was his bread, and he had to listen to them when the Britishers were living. And the British, the railway guard, no ma'am, at that point. So the first, during their time, railways, right? And where was it stationed? Where was he? In which state? Tamil Nadu itself?
In those time, no, Trichirappalli was called as Tiruchinopalli.
There he was.
To Rameshwaram, I think so. His trip like that way.
Okay. So
Rameshwaram to Tiruchinopalli.
Okay. So you can still correlate your own stories if there's anything to the students, and then yes, they will sit and think for a while. Instead of that kind of an exploitation, there are so many exploitation now that is happening. And when we leave the country and go to a foreign country, saying that we get a lot of wealth, again, we can say we don't want to live in the country where we feel that we are exploited, but we go to a foreign country and we are ready to work for us. The only thing is a dollar conversion into Indian currency. That's the only thing that that is attracting any student in today's the 21st century. The money part attracts them. So when we teach them all these things, we get an opportunity to tell them, try to be in India, live in the country. You have n number of opportunities in your country. Don't leave your country and go. It's kind of a brain drain. You get all education from India and you are serving some other nation. And ask them to think. And finally, they'll say, ma'am, then money, what do you need money for? To make a livelihood, right? Food, clothing, shelter. Is that not just sufficient for you? And I'll always ask, the nano car story is there. Anyone knows about the nano car story, how that came into the market? I was just inspired when I was going through this textbook. I was just inspired. The story is this, ma'am. One day, Ratan Tata was going in his car and he happened to see a family where the father was driving the two-wheeler, mother was there behind, two kids, one in the front and one in between the mom and the dad, and all their luggages. They are going to their workplace. They have to leave the kids in school and then they have to go. So the vehicle was packed, loaded with 4 members of the family and all the baggages. And the mother was seated like halfway through in the vehicle. That is, half of her body was outside, because always mothers will give more importance to the kids. So the child was in the middle and the mother was halfway, like she was half out. So he was thinking about the cost of the cars in India. And then he realized, okay, the reason why people can't afford to buy a car is because of the cost of it. Why don't I go in for an economy car? And that's how he invented the Nano. The Nano's invention was that thought, because Nano is less than 1 lakh and even a two-wheeler is less than 1 lakh. 70,000 rupees if you can afford to buy a two-wheeler, you can still buy a four-wheeler. So the purpose is served. The purpose of 4 people traveling together comfortably without getting the sunlight, direct rays of the sun, without getting the rain. If it is rainy, comfortably with all your luggage is safe, everyone can sit comfortably in that car, and that's how the Nano came. So it's a thought of this great man who just wanted to help those families who could buy a two-wheeler but not a four-wheeler. And Nano is also there in the market competing with the rest of the cars. A small, beautiful car. Enga ponale, you can park the car. It's a small one. The size of the car is that small. Wherever you take the car, you can park it happily and you can start doing your purchase rather than.
But it is a failure in the market, ma'am.
Sir,
But it is a failure in the market, ma'am.
what the reason the failure was, sir? Frontless engine. So its engine was in front. And then that sound, no, sir, it was a sound of an auto.
That means that
people
Ratan Tata is failed in making that car. That means his prediction or his forecast was not correct as concerned his car. That one
Because,
product.
see, a vehicle when you make with a less cost, definitely we know that it has its disadvantages also. And it can't run for long hours. It can't take you for a long distance drive. It can take you for a shorter distance drive with all these limitations of it. That is why that car did not come to a, like, become a super hit like the Maruti 800. The cost of Maruti 800 minimum is 2.5 lakh. And this is just less than 1 lakh, where you buy a two-wheeler, you buy a scooter or a bike for 75 to 80,000 rupees. And when this came to the market, it was only 50,000 rupees. And when they tried making different models of that only, the charge went down, the cost of production went up a little high. So this is how this person had a desire to start something at a lesser cost, at least to support a family who had a desire to use a four-wheeler. So yes, so we have done with this. And here, the lesson all about, now here I have a few things to show you. Infrastructure development. I told you, no, when I started the chapter, we have merits of the first, the British rule, and the demerits of the British rule. So the merits of the British rule is infrastructural development. The roads, the railways, whatever we are using today is because of them. Whatever we say, however we say, what we are enjoying today is the net result of what they have left to us, and they have gone. So that was there. Then technology and ideas. With the medium of English, we are able to use this technology that I'm talking to, that I'm using, that I'm operating sitting at home, not meeting you in one particular place. So that introduction of new technology and ideas, right from the steam engines and the industrial revolutions that came up. Then medium of English, a stable government across the subcontinent, only when they left us, when we were a colony for almost 200 years, we did realize that there should be a government. And that is when we started thinking about the kind of the government that we should have. And we went in for a democracy, and that helped the people of the economy. What we are today is because of a democratic system that we have. Then the demerits of that, which is being listed down here, are the dependency by destroying the Indian industries, that is our handicrafts, our textiles, and all the other industries that was once upon a time giving GDP to the economy, that came down. Then British management led to famines because of their interference and what the farmers should do, what not the farmers should do. All these things led to famine. And then divide and rule policy, that unity, the rift between us, first with the Muslims, then with the Christians, was because of the divide that we had in the partition of Bengal. From there, we are divided. And that is when we were divided once for all after the independence. And then plundering of wealth. All the wealth that we had was looted and taken away to Britain. And the takeaways are on my right hand side. Ultimately, what did they do? Ultimately, what was the net result? Whether we had positive and negative impacts, what did they do? The infrastructure that was introduced by them was not for us actually. For them to move their goods from one part of the country to the other part very faster. Otherwise, they had to carry it in horsebacks and bullock carts, which will take months to reach them. And then they were scared of those thieves, those who were hiding in the forest. So the people who used to threaten them and take away their wealth. So that was a fear for them, which they decided to have something as a closed carriage, which could move very faster without allowing people to enter just like that. So railways came, roads came, everything came, which in turn helped them to make a lot of profit from the Indian economy. Then the second chapter. So this is all about the first chapter. Indian Economic Development, Chapter 1. India on the Eve of Independence is the name of the chapter. So the second chapter is a chapter where we are going to discuss about the 5-year plans. The planning has to be there. And what is this plan? Why should the government start for a planning? So for that, we have to know what a planning is. What was the purpose of a planning? And why was this 5-year plan introduced in the economy? And do we still have the 5-year plan? Do we still have the 5-year plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we going?
No, ma'am. It was replaced by Niti Aayog.
We don't have the 5-year plan, ma'am. The 5-year plan is stopped.
Niti Aayog.
Installed in 2014. And Niti Aayog came up in 2014. 5-year plans came to a standstill. It was dissolved by the Modi government. And we don't have 5-year plans any longer. It's now the Niti Aayog which had replaced the 5-year plans. So we need to know many things about the planning, the 5-year plans, and what is the purpose of the planning. So the Planning Commission, I have written here the purpose of the Planning Commission. It's just to plan out the incidents and events. And because we are handling the classes, we are very clear, ma'am. So Subhra ma'am, you need not feel disturbed. No, we have been here, so we know all these things. So I just wanted people like you who are into the next session to help you out.
Okay.
So it's purely meant for the people who were handling history.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
when
But
I asked
only
you.
physics and economics only, ma'am, for 9th and 10th standard.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry. So I just thought, okay, let this session help you out. And you said you have not seen the textbook also.
Sure, ma'am.
So we are people who are handling this for years. So we know. So just wanted the ones who are going into the 11th this year, let this be a better opportunity. Whatever we can do within this time period, we are helping you out. And once we tell you all these things, I think you will be doing a fabulous job. We're talking about the Planning Commission. So a group of people who are working together, who did work together for making the Planning Commission. The purpose of the Planning Commission is to study as to what we can do for the society, the government body, to ensure when we are going to have a plan, a 5-year plan, if there is a plan, how are we going to go about with this plan? And with that plan, the economy should benefit, because by then, in 1950, we didn't have anything. Population was there, and only population was there. Agriculture, only for the namesake we had agriculture, because the Britishers by then had exploited all our fields by cultivating indigo, opium, and those kinds of crops which could take away the fertility of the soil. So the land was there, a barren patch of land. And for that, what should the government do? How can they start a system for the people to help them live better in whatever available resources that we have in the economy? So a planning commission was set up, and with the support and assistance of the planning commission, few objectives were made. 4 objectives. They did 5 years. And it was under the chairmanship of the first Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru ji. The Planning Commission had come into existence. So all these things said and done. Here it was in 19 that we had the written constitution which came into effect, and after the written constitution has been framed, we brought in all the policies where inequality, untouchability, all those things were promoted in the economy, a secular nation for the benefit of the people. So then in 1951, we started the 5-year plans to 1956. And the main objectives of the plan was, what is the base of the country? Agriculture. With that base, what can we do? How can we set a foundation and then a superstructure for providing employment opportunities to the people through the agrarian sector? That was the thought. With that, they went up and they tried ways and means of helping the economy to grow whatever was available in India with the agrarian sector. And they had a few goals: the growth, self-realization, reliance, modernity, and equity. So they should be a self-sufficient economy. The country should be a self-sufficient economy. We should have modern techniques, modern machineries to help the economy. There should be growth, and there should be equality among all the sectors of the economy. So, and the people also should feel happy. That is primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector. We have divided the sectors. So it is not like making the farmer feel that, oh, I'm not good, I am earning less. No, a farmer also should be given the importance that he is the tiller of the soil and he is the one who is providing food for the rest of the nation. So here, the Green Revolution concepts and everything had come into existence, which had made the farmer more reliant. I can do it. I'm able to do it. Like that, he started thinking. And then the 5-year plan went for 5 years, 1951 to 1956. So we have to very clearly speak to the children about the 5-year plans, at least the first 3 5-year plans. Then the second 5-year plan. So when the first 5-year plan was given importance for agriculture, the second 5-year plan, by the end of it, we understood that it was not a big success because we completely said no to industries. So industries couldn't grow. Industries were not given importance by the government. All importance was given to agrarian sector. So the second 5-year plan gave importance to the industries, for the industries to develop in the economy, indirectly or unknowingly neglecting the agricultural sector. That was the second 5-year plan, which went for 1956 to 61 period. And the third 5-year plan, that is, they just tried bringing both together. Second 5-year plan was only industries, first 5-year plan was only agriculture. So they decided, okay, both of them have to go hand in hand. From the raw materials that you get from agriculture, you have to give the, you have to make a finished product. And for the finished product to be made, you should have industries there. So these two things has to be going together so that the economy will benefit. People also will benefit, because we always say agriculture is the vagaries of the monsoon. Vagaries of the monsoon means rains may come, may not come. Maya vanda, you are benefited. Maya illena, that's it. The farmer is struggling. So, and if the rain is too much, again the farmer will struggle. So it's just the vagaries of the monsoon. The monsoon should come, it should be correct. That is, it should provide sufficient water to the fields. Too much of water, that is, if the rains are heavy rains coming up and it's pouring, then the fields will be full of water and the plants will be soaked. So they can't do anything over there. So that is the word vagaries of the monsoon. Correct. So then they understood that raw materials from the agriculture has to go to the industrial sector. From the industrial sector, it has to go to the finished product. And agriculture is a seasonal occupation. Only 6 months they work. The rest of the 6 months they are unemployed. So how to help the people who are unemployed? For them, they have to have some other job, and that some other job is from industry. So this is how the third 5-year plan came, which gave emphasis to both agriculture and industries. Then the rest of the 5-year plans I have not brought in because it's too big, and I just came to this slide because I have a next plan coming up, and I just want you to identify this person.
PV Narasimha Rao.
PV Narasimha Rao. What is this? The significance of this person? Importance? Why is he so important?
The first in the Congress, that is what to say now? That is a non-Nehru's family. He came from Nandiya constituency. After the assassination of the Rajiv Gandhi,
Yes.
He became that as a prime minister of our country.
So the first person who was not in the hair of the Congress ministry at all. And this is the person who is behind the so-called concept of the new economic policy.
Policy.
That is liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So he is the person who had planned out the new economic policy, NEP. And if we are a liberalized nation, a privatized nation, and a globalized nation, it's all because of this great man. So he is P.V. Narasimha Rao, who was our prime minister after Rajiv Gandhi's assassination.
And Mr. Manmohan Singh, Dr. Manmohan Singh
Yes.
was our
He
finance
brought-
minister this time.
Yes, yes. He is a person who brought Manmohan Singh into the Congress. Manmohan Singh, sir, the great economist, actually, if I was blessed to, we had an opportunity to meet sir in person when I was doing my PG. We had
good.
been a part of the national seminar, ma'am, globalization, in 2002, and sir was our chief guest. So we, the students of 12th, could speak to sir in person when he came to college, because we were the host and we were the organizers for that. And that great person, the thoughts that sir had as a finance minister of the nation was so good. Like students of economics, we felt so proud. Okay, in the years to come, that the economy can be taken up to great heights. But unfortunately, when sir was made the prime minister of the nation, nothing much could be done from his end. That is what happened. But if he were a finance minister, then we would have gone, like our economy would have grown much before than what we are today. Because that time he was talking about the agricultural sector. He spoke to us for nearly 20 minutes in person with the students of PG, and then he met the public there. And in his speech there, he was talking about what all ideas he have to help the economy to grow, to increase the GDP of the nation. But we couldn't have him as a finance minister. He was brought up as a prime minister of the nation, and that's when all things went off. So this is the person, P.V. Narasimha Rao, who had brought Manmohan Singh ji into the Congress ministry. A good economist, an economist who had a lot of ideas for the economy to give if he had been continuing himself as a finance minister of the nation.